Welcome to Orange is the New Black, a podcast for diehard Bengals fans. Brought to you by your two hosts, Ace Boogie as well as Zim Hude. Zim, say what's up.
What's up? We are live from draft headquarters.
Definitely. And today, obviously, if you haven't checked out our podcast, it's the Cincy Jungle podcast. It's a syndicate of all Bengals podcasts. It's the Orange and Black Insider. It's Matt Minish's Chalk Talk. It's the Orange is the New Black podcast. It's also the Sorry If I Spit When I Speak with Daddy-O as well. So be sure to check all of them out. We're on every platform. If you're on Apple, definitely go to the podcast store, find Cincy Jungle there. Leave us a review as well. I did see that we got some pretty good reviews. Someone commented about Matt Minich as well as us, so appreciate that love. Leave us some more reviews. Definitely be sure to subscribe and check out the Sean Williams episode. Thanks to my man Zim Hude. He was able to secure Sean Williams, and we had a great interview with him last time. So definitely got a lot of positive feedback from you guys on Twitter. Be sure to follow us at New Stripe City and at Zim Hude on Twitter. We appreciate that. We like the follow back. Also, be sure to follow Zim on IG at Zim_Hude. For you guys listening live, you guys asked me to punch the Steelers bag. If you want me to hit the Steelers bag, I need at least 10 super chats. So if I get 10 super chats on this video, if you're watching it live, I will go and hit the Pittsburgh Steelers logo on the punching bag. But
Gloves
today,
or no gloves?
Gloves. I already got them ready. So if you see over there, right under the Hude scarf in the corner, those are the gloves sitting right there, ready to get it cracking. It's up to y'all though. But today, before I start getting off on a tangent here, we're going to talk about the draft. And primarily, we're going to talk about the 33, the pick 33 and the 33rd pick in the second round. And we're also going to look at some linebackers and wide receivers as well. So kicking things off, Zim, was there anything that you wanted to talk about?
No, I'm just getting ready for the draft like everybody else. I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to hearing people's questions. To me, it's going to be like a mix of some Q&A stuff. I was going to talk about maybe a little bit about what did you feel about the Dalton post recently? Looks like he's a little more bored, I think, and he's now getting on Instagram and he's posting some of his workouts. Do you think that helps or hurt us? Did you have any thoughts on the Andy Dalton stuff?
For me, I think it's just probably some direction from his agent. Possibly, I don't know for sure. I don't have any confirmed sources on Andy Dalton, but maybe he's at the point now where it wouldn't hurt, especially with there being not that many jobs open, especially when you look around the league with the draft coming up. There's not really many positions open for Dalton. So I think that it accomplishes two things. It makes him have that great image that he essentially has as a family guy, as a father. It makes him seem that he has some poise through a situation, given that this is the week that his potential replacement is going to be drafted. And it also allows people to see Andy Dalton still has skills with him lining up a target and throwing at it. I think that it just really reminds teams out there that this guy is out there on the market, even though he still right now is officially on the Bengals. It could mean that potentially soon, maybe through this draft or maybe after this draft, he could be a person that could be a cut candidate, especially with the $17 million in cap space there. So I think that that's just him putting out a positive image of himself, letting him know that none of this situation is really hurting him. Nothing is really getting to him. And he also made the point that things are bigger than football. So I think that that's what it is. It looks like Judah is asking Quez Watkins or Lloyd Bowden, Jr., late day 3 guys. What do you think, Zim?
Don't know enough about it, but only seeing highlights for me to even really talk about it, I guess. I have some notes on Quez Watkins or whatever, but I don't have enough for me to say, hey, for me, just being 100% honest, I'm not a draft analyst, but I do enjoy watching film on some guys, especially the wide receiver position. But with certain guys, when it gets lower down into the 5th and 6th and 7th, I'm not the deep draft analyst. So I don't know. I know some of his stuff from the combine and stuff. I saw his numbers though.
So it looks like he's a wide receiver out of
Mhm.
Kentucky. It seems like he has a decent grade, 6.24. So
He ran a 4.3 at the combine, and that's the reason why. Like when he said it, I'm like, yeah, I remember him. He had a 3-cone of like, let me see, I wrote, he had a 3-cone of 7.28. He had he ran a 4.36 in the 20-yard shuttle. Like, yeah, I
looks
had
like
some notes. I got a wide receiver list because we're going to talk about wide receivers in the show. So I wrote notes on him in his last go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was gonna say some of the specs that stick out about him. They say that he has a lot of versatility, so he can be used as a running back, can also be used in the jet sweep. It looks like he's pretty
He's short.
slippery with the strong. I'm sorry,
He's short.
he's
He's
short. So it
yeah.
seems like to me, when I'm hearing this guy, it reminds me of the guy that was that played at Ohio State that the Panthers ended up taking a few years back. He was kind of a running back / wide receiver. So seems like he could be somebody that could bring some versatility, to the game.
If y'all
And
ever want to see a good Quez Watkins video, go watch Quez Watkins against what's the corner from Alabama? Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon
right,
Diggs
right.
dominated him, and that's why I know Quez Watkins. I guess is because I watched a bunch of Trayvon Diggs highlights, and he was just dominating them. Like that's why I
Curtis
remember.
Samuel, judo. I'm sorry, my bad, Zim. You were talking about Quez. I'm talking about Lynn Bowden. Apparently, he went to
Oh, okay.
Kentucky. So yeah, he reminds me a lot of. It looks like Curtis Samuel is what I'm kind of seeing there. A very versatile guy. He also was a quarterback, so he's a former quarterback that transitioned to the wide receiver position. So it seems to me that maybe he would be a guy that we could look at as a potential second receiver that we take, right? Like if we were to take T. Higgins or someone like that, this could be a guy that we could possibly take in the later rounds.
I do want to say that this is a little off script right here. Is there any way I could go live with this guy, Corey Turner? Corey Turner, if you don't want to go video with me, I would love to talk to you because you are a very unique fan. Corey Turner is saying a bunch of Burrow bust type stuff, saying Burrow's going to Manning us. He says we need to take Tua. I don't know if y'all seen the Wonderlic scores come out this past week. Tua was the absolute lowest, but that's neither here or there. Corey Turner, if you want to have smoke with me right now, I'm inviting you for some of this internet.
We actually can
Corey, what you want to
invite
do?
people on here. So
Corey, you comment. You tell me if you want some smoke because
send your email in the comments, Corey.
he said
Here.
let's go. He said let's go. Give me your email. Let's do this. At some point in the show, I want to talk to you.
Okay, cool. So getting back to things, let's talk about this 33rd pick, and we're really focusing on the linebacker position, the wide receiver position. Are we even thinking about the running back position? Is that a possibility now, or what are your thoughts on that? Obviously, they signed Jaquez Patrick. I'm not sure if running back would really be on their high list, especially over an offensive lineman and a wide receiver or a linebacker. So we'll have to see there. But Zim, let's go ahead and get into, since we kind of talked about wide receivers already, let's go ahead and get into your list for the wide receiver position. And then we'll also go through my list on Prime for what we have at the wide receiver position.
Okay, so when we're going into this list, the main focal point for me creating my top 10 list is because when we get to draft night, the show before Sean Williams, I forget the name of our show before then, I'm sorry, but when we get to draft night, I want you guys to have a guideline or just a list of people that maybe are on your radar, or you can match it up. I think it's really fun if you have your own guys in wide receiver that we can match up and just say, hey, look, at this point, at the night ended day one, right? Round one is over. These are the guys that the Bengals should be looking at right there in their face. And we're going to be we looked at offensive line the last time we did. We matched up my list versus Ace's prime list. Tonight, I want to go through wide receiver and linebacker because those are the three most glaring needs, in my opinion, I guess. So Ace has his list. My wide receiver goes like this. Number 1, Jerry Jeudy. Number 2, CeeDee Lamb. Number 3, Henry Ruggs. Number 4, Laviska Shenault from Colorado. Number 5, Jalen Reagor. Number 6, Michael Pittman. Number 7, T. Higgins, which is crazy because if y'all remember 2 weeks ago, we did a mock and I had T. Higgins as a possible number 3, but he's number 7 on my list. Justin Jefferson, number 8. Brandon Ayuk from Arizona State is number 9. And then the shocker of them all is Denzel Mims. I have at number 10. I could actually, let me switch this around. I did change this and I forgot to put this on there. Denzel Mims, I have at number 6. Michael Pittman, I moved to number 10. But every single guy that's on that list, if I saw it at number 3, I would take it.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that for sure. My list consists of starting with the top prime scores according to round projection. Again, these projections come from pff.com, so these are pretty much used given Pro Football Focus's knowledge and working with teams. But it starts off with Jerry Jeudy with a 4.5. We've got CeeDee Lamb, we've got Henry Ruggs, T. Higgins, Jalen Reagor, and Laviska Shenault. Those are the guys that are supposed to be first round locks. So that would be the order for them according to Prime. Then you get into the first to second round guys where you have Brandon Ayuk, you have Denzel Mims as well, who's a huge fan favorite. And then you also have Michael Pittman starting things off in the second round out of USC. I think that that's a very interesting guy to I guess look at in that area. Justin Jefferson, some people seem to feel like since he's a slot receiver and we already have Tyler Boyd, that wouldn't make sense. Me personally, I just don't think that is simply based off of scheme. You really just want to get any wide receivers that you can get into this area, especially coming from the Rams offense. Then you have Jawan Jennings, you got KJ Hill, KJ Hamler, crazy. John Hightower, and Van Jefferson. So when we're looking at rounds 1 through 3, these are guys that could potentially be there.
The glaring thing that starts off, I guess, when we're comparing my list to your list is you have T. Higgins a lot higher than I did. And then another thing that stands out to me is that you have Justin Jefferson, who has been regarded, a lot of people after he came from his combine, and the speed that he posted and everything there. Justin Jefferson then got catapulted to the end of the first round, where most Bengals fans have been thinking like there's no way he'll be there. And then we're looking at Denzel Mims like he will fall down. According to this, Denzel Mims should be there. And Brandon Ayuk, who I've been watching him a lot more the last couple of days, even just highlights. He is absolutely like a freak, and I didn't realize how good he was. Another thing that is very, very that jumps out to me is that if you do a mock on NFL Draft Network, or if you do a mock on what's the other one? Fanspeak. Jawan Jennings, you can mock him every single time, 5th and 6th round. But on your prime grade, you got a second round grade on him. KJ Hill too is another guy who I like, but to me, he's more like.
Now, when it comes to the projections, those aren't prime projections, so I don't project the actual round. These rounds come from Pro Football Focus's NFL Draft Guide, so I grabbed those from there. But if we were to go strictly based on Prime itself, the way that this lines up, it looks like Jerry Jeudy is the number 1, Brandon Ayuk is number 2, Henry Ruggs, according to Prime, just overall is number 3. Then you've got Denzel Mims, Michael Pittman, CeeDee Lamb, T. Higgins, John Hightower, Reagor, Justin Jefferson, Van Jefferson. All 3 of those guys have the same Prime score of 4.29. Then you got KJ Hill, KJ Hamler, Laviska Shenault, and Jawan Jennings. So Jawan Jennings, if we're going strictly off of Prime and these guys are actually available at the same time, it looks like he would actually be the last one on the list.
And let me just say this to everyone that's watching this. If you're unfamiliar with Prime, this is something that Ace has developed to just follow the footsteps of the Bengals drafting patterns in the Duke Tobin era. So if
it takes everything in account to the size metrics that they've used, and this is going all the way back, like Zim said, to 1999. Guys that played in certain conferences, guys that play at certain colleges, height, weight, offensive scheme, all of that goes into this. So this really, honestly, when I first did it, it used to sort as Prime, and I think on the last day before the draft, and this was back in the 2016 draft, I ended up putting in the projections, and then I sorted it by the Prime score and the projections, and it seemed to have a profound effect on being able to predict who the Bengals were going to take. And that started off with William Jackson III. It also continued on with Tyler Boyd the next day. If you guys have been following me on New Stripe City for a while, you guys heard me talk about Prime the day of the second draft, and it ended up being Tyler Boyd. That was the one that was taken. And then it also was correct, and Andrew Billings and some other draft picks. I think the only one that it was off on was Nick Vigil, because Nick Vigil apparently wasn't even, I think, on my list, or I don't think he was projected to go that early. He was still there on the prime list, but not as early as we expected.
I'm listening to everything, man. We got some really good comments on here. I just want to point this out. Rob Volet said he went and followed your link, and I wanted everyone to check this out. If you go look at the link in these YouTube postings that Ace is doing with New Stripe City, there are some amazing items on there. There's a hoodie that I was looking at, and I just didn't get a chance to go back on there. There's some real sweet gear on there. Like, bro, it's a hoodie on there that I swear was like $100 something. It's on there for like 60. This is all authentic merchandise, like authorized from the Bengals and stuff that Ace is giving guys like a link to. So if you guys get a chance, like, check out that link. Like, I promise you, like the clearance section items that they're calling clearance, they all look like new stuff to me because I ain't never seen it. I just that caught me off guard because Rob just said that. It's a bunch of good questions in here too.
Right, and Rob, we appreciate that purchase as well. Also, if you see the hat that I'm wearing, the NFL draft hat, I love this thing. I even did like a review on it. I've never done an unboxing before, but the hat was just so fire that I had to. And any gear that you get from there, man, it not only is it clean, it also helps support and grow the channel. So we appreciate that, and we're wanting to make sure that you guys get authentic, officially licensed stuff. And like Zim said, it doesn't have to just be something that's brand new. There's something for everyone. They have clearance items. They have all kind of stuff on there. So definitely be sure to check it out.
Someone said, my man Nova Wooder. I saw a question earlier. It wasn't even a question. They said, "Can Zim adopt me?" Sure, because I think they'll give me like a $500 check for that, just for having another kid or something.
Yeah, so, you get a stimulus. That's a stimulus bonus.
So Nova, just send me over your info. We'll get the paperwork together. Just make sure that like we get the $500 cleared before you actually walk into my door. But other than that, we can adopt you. But he did say, what wide receivers do we not want? One of the wide receivers that I was looking at that I was pretty high on earlier was Hamler from Penn State. He's a really, really fun wide receiver to watch. I like everything about him except the fact that his toughness kind of reminds me of John Ross-like stuff, and he's got really small hands, and he has a lot of drops. So that's a guy that I absolutely wouldn't want at 33. But if he falls down in the third and stuff, like he has the measurables and the attributes to be something special or be a really key component of an offense, but it's just some things in the NFL I think he's going to have a lot of trouble with. That's one guy. I mean, I can give you a list of a bunch of guys. I mean, like if you're worried about like, I mean, the more and more the thing that dropped T. Higgins down on my list is that in big games, I didn't see a lot of the production that I wanted to see. And then I also got really, really worried about the 40 time, because if Auden Tate and T. Higgins are going to have the same route pattern, like what more are you getting from T. Higgins? I feel like you're getting a lot more explosiveness and you're getting a little bit of a faster wide receiver. But if Auden Tate has a lot of the same high point capabilities, like the one thing that I stress in the draft is like get guys that could do something really, really well. I don't think there's a guy that I've seen besides like the guys early up, like the Judys of the world and CD Lambs, that can high point a football like an Auden Tate. Auden Tate just doesn't run, he doesn't have the speed and he doesn't have the breakaway stuff that we're looking for. But when I look at T. Higgins, it is a lot of the high point stuff that really makes me fall in love with him. So it's not that I would say I don't want him. It's just that the value for him is now like slowly dropping too.
Apparently, TJ Houshmandzadeh, the former Bengals wide receiver, him and Willie Anderson went live last night on IG. Apparently, he's a huge T. Higgins fan. Apparently, he's been working with him, and he thinks that whoever gets him is going to get a guy that can play in the NFL for 10 years, which I think that's kind of crazy. He said that he was attending a session and had a multitude of players there, former NFL players, current NFL players, draft people, and some people didn't know that it was T. Higgins. And apparently he said after the workout, someone asked him, like, was that T. Higgins? And he was like, yeah. And they thought that apparently he kind of wowed them in those sessions. But being that he's one of those guys that has a potential injury and doesn't have the ability to actually get medically checked out and doesn't have the ability to come in for a private workout and rerun that 40 that he kind of ran a slow time on, that could cause him to fall down on some draft boards. So that's the big question is, in the second round, are we going to look at, offensive line, or is it going to be linebacker, or is it going to be wide receiver? So we kind of talked about the wide receivers. Zim, was there a different position group that you wanted to discuss next?
Linebacker. Let me answer some of these questions though before we get into that.
Let's get it.
Somebody did just say Roach versus whatever. I think it's your name is just Roach versus. Said Isaiah Hodgins. One thing that threw me off with him was the 40 speed. He ran a 4.6. He does have a height. He's 6'4". He's a monster. If you guys haven't seen him play for Oregon State, I write down notes on a lot of these guys, especially when we were coming out the combine. So I have like all this stuff in my phone, but that's all I really wrote. He's like 210 pounds. Don't have too much on him for me to have like a real good answer for you. But the 40 times scared me off, because if we already got an Auden Tate on my list, I mean, what we're looking for, or what the Bengals are looking for, or why Denzel Mims is so attractive to the Bengals to me, is because you just need a big outside guy. Like, that's two things we're looking for, is a big burner. Like, they tried to get that with like, I guess Cody Core is a little, it's the frame. I guess I kind of see what they were trying to do in a lot of these picks, like Josh Malone for sure. You want an outside guy that's big and can run. And so Denzel Mims fits that 100%. So that's something that they're looking for. So if the guy is fast and he's big, because you got to think, if AJ Green doesn't pan out this year, they're looking for AJ Green's replacement like right now. And that's the theory behind it. And then John Ross, we're always trying to get him out on the field so he can space out the defense and keep everybody honest. And if he doesn't come through, you need speed. And that's the number one thing. When we had our interview last episode with Sean Williams, he just preached about how scary Tyreek Hill is. And can you imagine like an NFL player like these, like to get to the NFL and you're probably the best person in your state. You're the best person that ever played in your Boys and Girls Clubs. You're the best person that ever came out of that. Then to get the NFL and then you're seeing somebody that's just 20 times faster than everything you've ever seen, just changes the dynamic of any defense, any offense. And that's something that you cannot game plan for, is like unpredictable or just crazy speed. And that's always going to be a threat. Shout out to Dave Lennox. He says, "Who they? What's up, bro?" Corey Turner, I told you I want to smoke with you. What's up, my guy? He's a Burrow hater. We're going to get him tonight, guys. Andrew Humphrey, hey, love your show. Bust the bag for me. Ace told y'all he needs a couple. You say you need 10 super fans.
So we got one. If we can get 5, I won't even try to break it out. If we can get 5, I will put the gloves on and I will knock it right in the Pittsburgh Steeler bunghole. I will do that for you guys.
Andrew Humphrey says, "Do you think it's going to hurt us losing Eifert?" I don't think so, because if you're catering to Joe Burrow, you're going to go into 4 and 5 wide sets. But that's predicated on you making the line at least above average. If they don't do that, then yeah, maybe Eifert could hurt us, but they were using him as a wide receiver. Do you feel anything about that, Ace? Do you have any thoughts?
Nah, not necessarily. I just think when you kind of come from that aspect, you just kind of wonder how to get everyone on the field at the same time. But outside of that, I think that they'll find a way.
Okay. Mike Rawson said, "Which first round talent would you like for us to fall at number 33? At the very beginning, I used to say Patrick Queen. I'm not 100% sold on Patrick Queen, honestly. If I was in the 38, 39, 40 spot, I would say that's a no-brainer. But at 33, like with guys like they're talking about Becton, because they're talking about like he had a dirty urine sample or maybe possibly tested positive for I don't want to misquote him and I don't want to say the wrong thing, but just read up on it. It's someone like that that's already looking at a top 10, top 15 type of thing, could drop down 15 spots, someone like that, because they're scared about a weed test or something like that. That's a guy I'd be looking at. Like I'm just looking for somebody like that.
What about Mekhi Becton? That's
what I'm talking about.
Okay, Mekhi Becton. I would love to scoop Mekhi Becton up if he does fall.
If Mekhi Becton is on the team, I mean, let's go. Like that's a big. But going by what Bengals has been saying about character issues and stuff like that, that doesn't seem to fall in line with what they're saying. A couple of scouts said that they interviewed him and he loves food too much. The 2 scouts said that.
That's not good.
Loves food
Not
too
good.
much.
All right, so shifting gears to linebackers, right? So when we come to the prime list, I'm going to let Zim get his list together, but we're going to alternate on this. For the Bengals, not much has changed. I think I showed you guys this before. Logan Wilson stands at the top of the list. Linebacker out of Wyoming. I think that he's really, to me, I would definitely wait into the 4th round to get him. Zach Bond is interesting. LA Bengals fan, what is going on, my friend? He asked about Zach Bond. I think that the diluted sample, I think it falls in line with like what Zim said with Mekhi Becton. Does that character concern get held against him? I'm not sure, but you gotta love the value. But Zach Bond is a boomer bust pick. Zim has spoken to people, however, within the front office that are not true and big believers of Zach Bond. So I would be somewhat surprised based off of what we've kind of heard. But there's also other guys. Kenneth Murray, I'm not too big on. Willie Gay, me and Zim really love.
You know who was big on Zach Bond, though?
Who was big on him?
And I don't consider him inside the building anymore like that. Is Dave Lapham.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I would love Zach Bond because he's just a multi-dimensional guy that can rush, can also cover, has athleticism, and if you're transitioning to a 3-4, like the Bengals played a lot of 3-4 last year. So if your goal is really to, which there's been rumors, I think Bengals captain on Twitter says that he claims that he knows that the Bengals are transitioning to a 3-4. That would be the perfect guy to kind of bring in there and help with that transition. But moving on, we also have Anthony Jennings. That's kind of a 3-4 guy as well, more of an edge rusher. Patrick Queen, Francis Bernard from Utah, Isaiah Simmons. Obviously, he will not be there. He's going to be the first linebacker taken. You've got Jordan Brooks from Texas Tech, who a lot of analysts actually like. You've got Akeem Davis-Gaither, Cameron Brown, Terrell Lewis from Alabama. That's another guy that's kind of an edge rusher a little bit. And then you got Davion Taylor as well in the 4th round. So a lot of these guys, I think that you will kind of see there's not much that really separates these guys. When you kind of look at the prime scores, a lot of them are similar. And from my personal opinion, depending on who it is in the 2nd round, maybe if it's Zach Bond, maybe I think about it, but I still think I would rather have that offensive tackle there instead of picking one of these guys. But if it were up to me, I think in a dream world, maybe I pull the trigger in the 3rd round on Logan Wilson just in case he's not there in the 4th when it gets to us. But with us having the first pick in the 4th round, if he's there, you take him.
Got to. I think somebody asked this question on the last one or about the wide receivers. For me, there are some linebackers that I want to stay away from. Anybody that's slow, it just doesn't seem to work out for. So, but let's go into my list. My list is right here. Let me back up. Shoot, I just had it pulled up. You can answer a couple of questions.
I'll answer a couple of questions real quick. Let's see. It looks. I hope they don't start. Darius's growth is what Terrell Howell is asking. What's our biggest need behind quarterback? I think for me personally, I'm going to go ahead and say that it's still an offensive tackle. I think that given what we've seen from the offensive line, I'm not really sure what we really have there, especially given that Bobby Hart is still starting. I'm not the biggest Bobby Hart guy, but given that our offensive line is so young, which Willie Anderson talked about as well, we need to have some stability there. I think even if you're going to be young, that's not a bad thing with Jonah being there, but you have to have some high talent and guys that weren't on practice squads and guys that aren't viewed by the league as backups. And I think in order to do that, that requires you to try to take an offensive tackle, at least in, I think, minimum 2nd round, but you could possibly get away with it in the 3rd round, as you saw the Ravens kind of did a few years ago, which that still hurts me to this day because that was the guy that I wanted at right tackle, especially with his dad Zeus playing with Marvin Lewis or him coaching him. I thought that he was definitely going to come to the Bengals. Corey Turner says, Bama for Bama, replace Dre with Surtain, or is it Surtain the second? I would assume that would be a corner.
I don't know enough about him.
Yeah, for me right now, I think corner is definitely an interesting position to look at because they don't really have much after next year. You talk about William Jackson III being in a contract year. He could potentially walk away. You just signed a new corner with Trey Waynes from the Vikings, but you're not sure exactly what he's going to do either. And then you got Darius Phillips, and then you've got some other guys that they have there. Mackenzie Alexander is only here for a year. So there's a lot of uncertainty low key at the cornerback position. So it wouldn't hurt me if they did go corner, but I think traditionally this team has done better off outside of the Darius Phillips picks, which obviously worked out. I think they've always done good when they take that corner in the first round, and being that we're taking Joe Burrow this year, I'm not sure if it would be a pick that they would address this year. Maybe that's something that they look at next year.
Shout out to my man Davis Martin. He says, "Do you guys like Justin Jefferson?" I absolutely love Justin Jefferson. Early on, I thought he was going to be primarily just a slot. Even if you did just do slot, you line those guys up in a bunch formation, him and Tyler Boyd, and dare a team to come with two slot corners that could even match up. Like putting your outside guy on Justin Jefferson ran at that combine. Like there is no stopping that guy. With boy, you make that work. A good offensive coordinator makes that work. The Patriots make that work. So I absolutely love him. If they took him at 33, I would be all for it. Ryan McKeon, I remember you last time in here, and I just remember your name, and I just want to say I shout you out because he had a bunch of crazy stuff to say last time. All right, back to my linebacker list. My top 10 goes Isaiah Simmons from Clemson, 2, Patrick Queen. Next is going to be Willie Gay Jr. After that, I've got Zach Bond. After that, I've got Kenneth Murray. Then I've got Jordan Brooks from Texas Tech, who's been rising up on my list. Akeem Davis Gaither after that, Malik Harrison, Troy Dye, and then last Logan Wilson.
To me, just personally, I meant to say this earlier. Just give me a guy that can cover, because that's the only thing that the Bengals really need right now at the linebacker position and have needed for several years. But
Willie Gay Jr. got the highest coverage grade that PFF has ever had, and the only thing that really scares about me the one thing that scares me about him is the character issue things that I think that the Bengals probably wouldn't take him, and that's the one thing I don't want to get my hopes up. But if you want to talk about a linebacker that's going to play in this league for a while, if he's coached up correctly in the right scheme, is Willie Gay Jr. Like he has all the things that make a linebacker super instinctive, matched up with the attributes, with the speed and the coverage and everything you need. He had about 300 coverage snaps that PFF graded. I looked at that like earlier today or whatever, like off the charts. And I said this before, I do not want Willie Gay Jr. to go to the Steelers or if he got paired up with somebody like a Devin Bush or something like that, they would be unstoppable.
Right.
That would be unstoppable, bro. Like
one last question before we get out of here, Zim. It looks like Nova Woodward is saying that he saw that you posted a kicker on your story. What's the likeliness of us taking the kicker, Fat Randy, since he hasn't been eating donuts lately? Since Fat Randy hasn't been eating donuts lately.
If you guys don't know, we do a live every Sunday on my Instagram is Zim_Who and Fat Randy is like the people's champ. Like no matter what. You can throw
another question in there, Corey, as well. I saw that some people are saying the reason that we didn't know this corner is because he's an upcoming junior. So you can throw another question in the chat just in case, since you did do a super chat. But go ahead, Zim.
Man, look. Fat Randy is the people's champ. People like just love like trolling Fat Randy the whole time. I want to take credit for giving Fat Randy his name because I watched Trailer Park Boys. If y'all never watched this show called Trailer Park Boys, it's amazing. I'm on like season 12. Anyway, the guy that I got is Tyler Bass. He's a kid from Georgia Southern, small school. Got the crap kicked out of him playing against LSU. But he has some big kicks and some big moments. But that's my guy. I would be like in the 5th, 6th round if the Bengals were smart. And his comps, believe it or not, I seen him compared to Jake Elliott.
Oh, wow. Don't bring up that. Oh, man. Jake Elliott. That would be a great pickup for the Bengals. I definitely wouldn't be against a late round flyer on a kicker at all. I would definitely take one.
I got another kicker too. His name is Rodrigo Blankenship. He's from Georgia. James Rapine has been like going crazy telling me about this guy all the time. So he made me go watch him the other day. So I've been watching him a lot too. So that guy's serious too. Either one of those twos, I think, get into a kicking competition with Randy, with a real coaching staff that's able to assess talent and just look at the overall effects of having like an elite kicker or a kicker that can kick beyond 48 yards or whatever and give you some clutch kicks. I think they make that move, and I don't think they cut him.
Oh, my bad, Nova. Apparently, I called him Woodward. His name is Nova Woodard. My bad. My apologies on that. Woodard. But that wraps it up for the Orange is the New Black podcast. We appreciate you guys coming by. I was hoping that I could hit it. It looks like I got another hit. You know what? I'm gonna do this for y'all.
Hold on. Does Corey have Instagram? Do you have Instagram? Corey, if you got Instagram, come on IG. Let me talk to you, because remember, I want to promise you that. And we got a special treat. We got the man, the myth himself. We got Rocky Bambino.
Hey, Corey is making it happen. Corey just made it happen. I'm gonna be right back for those.
What jersey is that? What jersey is that?
This is an Odell Thurman jersey.
I thought it was an Odell. All right.
For those listening just strictly through the podcast, make sure you come through to the YouTube channel, because if you want to see this greatness that I'm about to do, definitely come by. But what I'm about to do right now is I'm walking over to the bag, and it's about to get hit. Thanks to my guy Corey. So I'll be right back.
Hit that bag. Odell. And he's stepping up to it. Look at him. Look at this. Look how he's walking up with the confidence. He's lacing them up. He's got a cut man in the corner somewhere. He's lacing them up, people. Here we go. Live. Odell Thurman with the gloves on. He's got a strap. Oh! Woo! He's got pop. Did you hear the pop on those gloves, people? I hope I'm not too loud in the mic. I'm just too excited. Did you see the pop on the gloves? Odell with the right and the left. He hit him with Airy combo and a chicken noodle soup, 3-piece, Wendy, 4-piece, 5-piece, chicken nugget, straight to the face, waffle fries and everything on the side.
Hey, that's how much I hate the Steelers. Let's get it.
And the bag's still moving. If you're listening to the bag still moving.
This has been the Orange is the New Black podcast. We will be coming to you guys Monday, hopefully with the super show. We're going to have some guests on. Yes, I had to hit them with that Tyson. We will be having some super guests on, so we're still locking in who's going to be on, but look forward to hearing from us on Monday. And then if you're following Zim on IG, definitely be sure to follow him I'm sorry, I'm out of breath now. That was a little bit right there. But be sure to follow him on Instagram at Zim_Hude. He's going to be doing a live draft party. If you're there, be there. He's going to be reacting to every single one. I'm probably going to do something for my channel as well. And I'm definitely going to have to come on to Zim's live if he will have me. I'm pretty sure we'll be connecting. So,
hey, look, we're going to go all night. On Thursday, we're going to do a little pre-stuff. We're going to get ready. I'm going to break out the Joe Burrow jerseys for the first time. I might have to change into the alternate home away Joe Burrow. It's going to be a Joe Burrow frenzy. We're going to go through the picks. We're going to laugh at everybody making stupid picks. And we're going to talk about 33. Come to my live Instagram. Those are some of my best shows, I think, ever. If you've ever seen me on Instagram, it's the live draft shows. If you come watch that out live, of course, I'm going to stream ESPN. If they get tired, if they get on our nerves, we'll go to another channel or something like that to get some other analysts. I don't know what we'll do, but we'll have fun. How about that?
It looks like Corey Turner he left his Twitter. In the comments. So yeah, definitely be sure to check him out. But
man, he gotta go live with me on the gram so I could you ain't even gotta show your face. I just want to tell you how silly you sound talk about getting to it right now at the greatest time of our lives. This is Burrow season. I'm a Burrow baby. Don't you ever forget that.
You guys take it easy. Who that?